Welcome to Truth Tellers Mike. Welcome to my channel. Don't ever put your life or career in the hands of a fallen star. You see, some people lose their light, but they keep their position. They still draw crowds, they still speak with influence, still even look the part, but spiritually they're empty. When you build your dream on borrowed light, you inherit the darkness too, right? So, you ever notice how some people used to shine? They had the crowd, the influence, the power, but somehow along the way, something in them stopped growing. That's what I mean when I say don't put your life or career in the hands of a fallen star, because sometimes people fall not from failure but from character. They fall when they start believing their own hype more than their own purpose. And if you build under them, you're building on something unstable. A fallen star is someone who still wants control but has lost integrity. They don't build anymore, they recruit. They don't mentor, they use. They'll see your potential not as a guide but to absorb it. And when you start growing, they'll find ways to dim it because it reminds them of what they lost. That's why you have to pay attention to know what's behind the opportunity. Is it genuine? Or is it someone trying to stay relevant with your rise? You don't owe loyalty to dysfunction just because it once looked like success. You don't need validation from someone who stopped valuing growth, because when you attach yourself to someone who's no longer evolving, you start slowing. You start slowing down too. Not because you're not capable, but because you enter their cycle. You ever get in a relationship with someone and all these bad things that happen to them is attached to your name? Everything is going haywire. You feel like you're at a standstill, you're lost, you can't think, you can't find peace. You've attached yourself with someone with potential. That's someone with a fallen star. Stop trying to look at a person's potential and try to build their potential instead of watching your own star. Be the keeper of your own light. Now, there's nothing wrong with learning from people who's been through it, right? Experience matter. But you've got to know the difference between wisdom and manipulation. One teaches you how to stand, the other teaches you how to serve them. If someone truly carries light, they'll never ask you to dim yours. They'll never make you feel small for wanting more. But if you notice that everything around them is built on control, fear, or flattery, that's not leadership, that's dependency. And too many talented people lose themselves that way, trying to prove loyalty to someone who stopped leading themselves years ago. You ever trust someone of who, because of who they used to be, only to realize you were following an outdated version of them? That's what happens when you put your life or career in the hands of a fallen star. They may still have the name, the platform, or a certain level of influence, but that doesn't mean they have direction. People can look successful and still be lost. They can give advice that sounds right but comes from resentment, not wisdom. And if you're not careful, you'll start carrying the weight of their unhealed issues: child support, divorces, broken homes, criminal histories, violence, addictions, mental illness. They can give advice that sounds right, but comes from resentment, not wisdom. And if you're not careful, you'll start carrying their weight of their unhealed issues while thinking you're walking towards your dream. When people have tasted fame or power, they don't always know how to handle what happens after the applause stops. Some evolve, some reflect, but others, they start searching for new people to fill the space that attention used to fill. That's when they start collecting people, not helping them. They build circles that look like mentorship but operate like control. They'll tell you they're helping you, but what they're really doing is keeping you close enough to feed their ego. And that's because you respect their history, because you once admired what they built. You ignore the fact that their present actions don't match their old greatness. A fallen star doesn't always harm you with cruelty. Sometimes it's with charm. They'll make you feel chosen. They'll give you access to rooms you've never been in before. They'll say things like, "You remind me of me when I started." But you have to ask yourself, why are you reminding Why are they reminding you of who they used to be instead of helping you become who you were meant to be? That's the difference between mentorship and manipulation. True mentors want you to surpass them. Fallen stars want you to orbit them. And that orbit looks like loyalty, but it's really dependency. You start waiting for their approval, their validation, their acknowledgement, and before you know it, your confidence depends on someone who doesn't even believe in themselves anymore. You can't build a solid future on someone else's unfinished past. When someone lose, or when people lose their own sense of purpose, they start giving direction that lead nowhere. They'll tell you to move like this, hustle like they did, fight battles they already lost, not realizing that the world has changed, that you're not here to repeat their journey, but to create your own. That's why discernment is critical. It's not arrogance to question someone's guidance, it's wisdom to ask if their guidance still comes from a place of growth or from a place of pain. Because some people don't want to see you free, they want to see you grateful, grateful to them, dependent on them, controlled by their narrative. The emotional damage of following a fallen star isn't just disappointment, it's confusion. You start doubting your instincts because every time you feel something's off, they call it disrespect. You start thinking loyalty means silence, so you start shrinking to keep peace. And before long, you don't even recognize yourself. You're performing for approval instead of walking in your purpose. You're editing your light to fit inside someone's insecurity. Let me be clear. You don't owe anybody your silence to keep their comfort. If the environment you're in starts draining your joy, your creativity, your peace, is not mentorship, it's bondage. And you don't need to stay there to prove you're loyal. Just because someone once carried greatness doesn't mean they still carry the grace. Some people's season of leadership has expired, but they won't step aside. They want to feel needed, even if it means blocking what's next. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse their experience with authority. Experience is valuable, but wisdom requires humility. And when humility leaves, all that's left is pride wearing history as a costume. You have to know when to stop learning from someone who stopped learning themselves. You can respect their contribution and release their control. If you've already trusted a fallen star, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You believed in the best of someone. That's not weakness, that's heart. But now you know better. And once you know better, you don't owe repeated lessons to people who refuse to go. Take what's real, the skills, the insight, the exposure, and leave the rest behind. What you learn through pain is still wisdom, but don't let the pain become your pattern. You don't have to become guarded to become wise. You just need boundaries that protect your peace and your purpose. The next time someone offers you a shortcut or a promise tied to their name, ask yourself this: does this align with my purpose or with their comfort? Are they helping me expand, or are they trying to extend their relevance through me? Real alignment doesn't demand silence or submission. It invites collaboration. It welcomes your ideas, your questions, and your independence. Anyone who truly wants to see you win will never make your success feel like betrayal. You're not obligated to stay loyal to someone who's no longer loyal to their own growth. So hear me when I say this. Don't put your life, your relationship, or your children, your finances, or your career in the hands of a fallen star. You can honor what they did without giving them power over who you're becoming. Because sometimes the most powerful decision you'll ever make is choosing your own path, even if it means walking away from someone the world still claps for. Their season might be over and yours may just be beginning. You're just starting. And so I'm going to end this here with the Fallen Star video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.